Yes, what is up? It's Friday, which means it's time for previews and predictions, which is the show that makes you smarter and potentially better looking if you end up winning some warm ball or swag. And actually, that's me, because I win every week. I am a winner at life. So let's get right to it by starting with the Big Cup final in Spain, the Copa del Rey final to be exact, between Sevilla and... Wait, hold on. Wait, we have some breaking news. I've just been informed that Arsene Wenger has announced that he's going to step down as manager at the end of the season. Oh my, well that ends the hashtag Wenger out forever. Oh my, that's, no, that sucks. Why is that happening? Why? How are we supposed to make fun of Arsenal now if they don't have an old, inept manager who used to be excellent at his job but isn't so much anymore and hates to spend money? How? What are we gonna... Oh, no! Also, there are gonna be a lot of names attached to this position, like Diego Simeone, who I love, but I'm not sure is the right fit for Arsenal. Or Thomas Tuchel, who I respect, but has he done enough in his career to warrant getting this job? Or Carlo Ancelotti, who seems to be a managerial mercenary because he doesn't seem to stay at a job for very long, but maybe that's what Arsenal needs. Or Unai Emery from PSG, because we all know PSG is not going to renew his contract in the summer. Or Maxi Allegri from Juventus, who might need a change of scenery and a fresh challenge in England. Or Leonardo Jardim from Monaco, because maybe that's a good omen since Wenger made his name at Monaco before coming to Arsenal too. And I really think philosophically, he's probably the option that's most closely aligned to how Wenger sees the game. Anyway, there's so much to talk about with regard to this situation, but we're going to do that in the future because now we need to finish previews and predictions. And first up is Sevilla versus Barcelona. Now, after both clubs got knocked out in the Champions League last week, though Sevilla's exit was to be expected since they had never been to the quarterfinals before and they were facing Super Bayern Munich. But Barcelona's exit was not to be expected after they completely fell apart in Rome after leading 4-1, and now it feels like their season is completely falling apart. One bad performance and it feels like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But thankfully, both of these clubs will get a chance to totally redeem themselves by competing for this trophy. But again, given the fact that they both appear to be struggling, which is kind of weird to say with regard to Barca because they're currently on a 40-game unbeaten streak in the league. Though honestly though, defensively, they definitely are struggling where they have finally shown some weakness. For example, in their last 6 games in all competitions, they have given up 10 goals. Whereas prior to that, they had only given up 11 goals in their previous 24 games. Now, while Sevilla are definitely struggling because they have not won a game, not one, since leg 2 of their round of 16 matchup against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and that was over a month ago. Also, Sevilla have only scored 6 goals in this current 7-game winless streak, which is their worst form of the season, and which included being up on Barcelona at home 2-0 with 5 minutes to go, and they gave up 2 goals at the end to draw 2-2. Do you guys remember that? It's also a result that will give Barcelona a lot of confidence mentally over the Sevilla team because they're like, oh yeah, we got him, we can come back anytime. And most likely will make Sevilla feel a little vulnerable because they're like, oh my God, we can never beat those guys. Even if we have a good lead, we outplay them. Plus, the league is pretty much locked up and the Champions League is out for Barcelona. This is really the only thing they have left to concentrate on. And for me, winning the double is the bare minimum expectation if you're a Barca supporter, especially given how well the team has played this season. So I'm gonna say Barca wins this 3-1. And now we're heading to England for the FA Cup semifinals. And we're going to start with Manchester United versus Spurs, which I had the benefit of seeing when these two played in the league at Old Trafford back in November. And honestly, it was a dreadful affair, and I want those 90 minutes of my life back, which United ultimately won 1-0 off of a punt by David De Gea to Romelu Lukaku's head, who flicked it onto the feet of just subbed on Anthony Martial, who slotted it into the corner, which is Route 1 football at its best, baby. And I call it football because I'm talking about the sport in England. But Spurs deserve more from this game. They created more of the opportunities. They actually tried to establish a rhythm to their movement, and they were unlucky not to hit the back of the net. And in fact, I remember leaving the grounds thinking that that was the most stereotypical Jose Mourinho game that I had ever watched. However, this is a cup competition, and the special one has proven historically that he is a master at these. That is, if you can somehow erase his tactics against Sevilla in both legs of the Champions League round of 16 this season from your mind. It was that bad and so uninspiring, given the talent that he has in his team, that it actually made me lose some tactical respect for Mourinho a bit. I feel like he's getting way too cautious and conservative as he ages. So maybe it's time for Mauricio Pochettino to win something, because I think he's due. And given what he's done for the club in recent years and the team that he's built, I think he's earned it. So my prediction is as such. I want Spurs to win because I'm tired of Mourinho being rewarded for his negative tactics. But honestly, I believe this encounter will probably be the same as the one I witnessed back in November, because why wouldn't it be? Mourinho is involved, so I see United grinding out another 1-0 result to get to the final. And in the other semifinal, it's Chelsea in there. I don't give a f about anything anymore. I just want the season to end so I can leave manager Antonio Conte versus Southampton, who recently hired the guy that got fired from Stoke to save them from relegation, which is an interesting move given that Stoke is in the relegation zone too. I mean, wouldn't you want to hire someone better than that? I don't know if someone better than that wants that job, but wouldn't you at least try? Anyway, Southampton are winless in their last 8, which includes having a 2-0 lead over the same Chelsea team at the 70-minute mark of their league match last week. And then Mr. Handsome, Olivier Giroud, took over, scored a brace, and led Chelsea to a 3-2 comeback win in those last 20 minutes. So I feel like Southampton has to be broke mentally. And then emotionally, I just don't know if they're ready to truly fight to win this and to save themselves from being relegated. That is just a lot of energy that they're going to need to find within themselves. And I think they're tired and probably severely disappointed for even being in this position. Like, how did this happen? Why, God, why? While Chelsea appear to be very hungry to win some silverware this season, so I think the Blues will easily win this 2-0. And now we head to Italy for the game of the season, Juventus versus Napoli. And this is it. This game will determine who wins Serie A this season, even though we all know Juventus is going to win it again, even if Napoli can somehow beat them this weekend, because that's what Juve does. They win the Scudetto over and over and over and over and over and over. And how many times have they won it in a row? Is it 6? Are they going for 7? So even though it'd be nice to see someone else do it, I'm just not sure that... Okay, fine, I guess Napoli has an outside chance since they haven't lost an away game in their last 29 league matches away from home, which is an incredible statistic. But Juve have won their last 7 at home and have kept a clean sheet in 8 of their last 9 home matches. So it's like an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Well, let's be honest. Juve have a 4-point lead at the top, so they're not going to give that lead away at this point in the season. Not going to happen, especially when they're going to want to send Gigi Buffon off into retirement as a champion. So no more analysis is needed in this one other than the score, which I believe will end 1-1. Yeah, I know, it's a boring result, but that's what I'm feeling in my heart. So don't at me and try to break my heart. That wouldn't be cool. Though, hold up, time out. I do remember looking at Juve's remaining schedule, and it is not easy. They got Napoli, which we just talked about, and then Inter Milan, and then AC Milan in the Coppa Italia final, and then Roma left, while Napoli's hardest fixture of their last 5 games outside of this one is against Fiorentina away. So maybe it's possible. And no, what am I doing? It's not. I'm just going to stop at the analysis. Buffon is not going to go out as a loser. He's only going to do that in the Champions League or for not qualifying for the World Cup. Otherwise, 100%, he will not end his career as a loser. Stamp it. Also, here's some other games I'll be keeping my eyes on this weekend. Like Borussia Dortmund versus Bayer Leverkusen and RB Leipzig versus Hoffenheim in Germany, because all 4 of these teams are separated by 5 points and they're all playing each other this weekend. Well, not all of them, but just the ones that I mentioned, which could go a long way into deciding who's going to qualify for the Champions League and who is going to qualify for the Europa League. I mean, check this out. Dortmund and Leverkusen are both on 51 points and in the Champions League spot in 3rd and 4th, respectively, while Leipzig and Hoffenheim are on 47 and 46 points, respectively, in 5th and 6th, and in the Europa League spots for the Bundesliga. And to add even more pressure, Eintracht Frankfurt are on 46 points too, so everyone needs to win this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see who steps up and who doesn't. And then I'll be watching the LA Galaxy versus Atlanta United, because I'll admit it, I am on the Zlatan bandwagon because I'm happy he's here, because it's nice to have a player in this country who talks a big game and can back it up. We don't have enough of those players playing in MLS. So I appreciate everything that he's bringing to the table, both on and off the field. Also, this game should have a lot of goals because Atlanta has a ton of talent going forward, and I'm looking at you, Joseph Martinez. So if you guys are into goals being scored and watching games where goals are being scored, then you should make some time for this one. And then I'll be spying on Grêmio versus Atletico PR in Brazil, because they had the 2 most surprising results in the opening weekend of the Brasileiro last week, when Grêmio went to Cruzeiro while missing a few starters due to injury and still came home with a 1-0 win, which says a lot about their intentions this season, because I believe Grêmio can be title contenders, and they backed that up in week 1. While Atletico PR, who just hired a new manager in January, Fernando Diniz, look great in their 5-1 win over Chapecoense, so we'll see how both of these clubs fare against each other in week 2. And I apologize for my pronunciations. I know they're not good. And then I'll be keeping these things on Boca Juniors, who seem to be trying to give away the Argentine League title after their once insurmountable 12-point lead at the top has been cut down to 4 by Godoy Cruz. So we'll see how Boca do against Newell's Old Boys this weekend. Also, is Argentina the best league ever for names, for clubs? Godoy Cruz, Newell's Old Boys? I think it is. And then I'll be watching how Porto and Benfica do this weekend, since Porto beat Benfica in Lisbon 1-0 last week to retake the lead at the top of the table by 2 points with 4 games to go, so any slip-ups could prove costly for both clubs. And then I want to see if Mets, who won their first league game in over 2 months last weekend, can somehow, someway, find a way to get off the bottom of the Ligue 1 table to escape relegation with only 5 games left in the season. They currently have 25 points, and the 2 teams above them in the relegation zone, Lille and Troyes, and I'm really surprised Lille is there, have 29, and nothing Toulouse is barely surviving on 30, so it's not outside the realm of possibility, but probably impossible. But you never know. And then I'll be watching the A-League playoffs in Australia, since my Brisbane miraculously qualified on the last day of the season last week, only to get beat by Melbourne City in the first round, which extended their season by like 4 extra days. So instead, I'm going to be putting my feet up to enjoy the Melbourne victory, take on Adelaide United, with the winner of that having to play against reigning champion Sydney FC in the next round, which doesn't sound like much of a reward. But I wish you guys the best. And finally, I'll be watching Atlas versus Chivas Guadalajara in Mexico, because I want to see if Chivas plays any of their regular starters, which they should, because they are 16th in an 18-team league this season after 15 games, which is embarrassing. Like, no mames way embarrassing. Or if they're going to rest all their key players so that they can be ready and fresh for leg 2 of the CONCACAF Champions League final midweek next week, which they lead 2-1 after leg 1 against Toronto FC. And I bet they rest everyone, the bastards. And I don't think they're bastards. We need an MLS club to finally get to the Club World Cup. So Chivas, just lay down. Let us have it. Just this once, please. Anyway, that is it. That is all I got. So thank you for watching, as always. Please hit like and subscribe if you want more of this good stuff. And also, pick the right score for, let's say, Sevilla versus Barcelona, and you'll be entered to win a Warm Baller starter kit. And then, of course, for me, please have a good or bad weekend. Later.